Hi, have you been wondering how to use modern technology to boost your business profits? Or maybe you're passionate about tech and looking for opportunities in remote work and professional networking? You are in the right place. Welcome to Dixre podcast. I'm Chato, the founder and CEO of Dixre and a seasoned senior software engineer. If you are new here, kindly click the subscribe button and let's transform the future together. Our guest in this episode is Victor, a full-stack developer working for a company in the United States. Victor has been working remotely for over 7 years. He has a lot of experience and a lot to share. In this episode, I and Victor will be talking about how to explore remote job opportunities, some of the challenges, and how to handle them. I believe you will learn a lot, so stay tuned. If you are new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button. So Victor, nice to have you around.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I don't know, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little about your background as a software engineer?
Okay. So my name is Victor Abbah Nkoms. I've been a developer for like over 7 years. And I'm a full stack developer.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost everybody that started almost everybody that is a software developer for like 7 years ago, almost all of us were full stack developers because that time we didn't know backend, we were just doing everything. So I'm a full stack developer. I use PHP, JavaScript, and then from PHP I use Laravel framework majorly, and then from JavaScript side, that's the front end side, I use Vue. I use React, but majorly I use Vue.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what made you to pursue a career in remote work?
You mean in software development generally? Yeah. Okay, so that time I was doing. I don't know if you can remember. We used to meet in Hefziba.
Yeah.
We used to come
yeah,
to.
Sure.
Yeah. So that time I was doing IT in Hefziba. I was it 300 level in Hefziba in Abuse area, so I was doing IT there.
Yeah.
So I was in their training department. We used to teach their clients. Let me call them clients. We used to teach their clients Word, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, CorelDRAW, all those stuff.
Yeah.
So the head of that department, Auntie Esther, that's what we used to call her then. She was a software developer. So she was the one that she was the one that inspired me to pursue this path. You know, I remember that time I remember one particular time she sat in and said, Victor, I want you to take this in serious because I've made money from this thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
so while over the years, while you've been learning software development and all that, at what point did you realize I need to look for opportunities outside these shores, outside Nigeria? Like you want to work remotely for a company in the US, for example. Like what made you pursue that path?
Okay, so around 2014 or thereabout, I really can't place my finger. No, 2015. I started following. So one thing I do if I want to learn about something, I immerse myself in the community. I go on Twitter, I follow everybody that is in that community. So I started following so many people. And I started getting interested in startups, right? So I went on Twitter and I followed so many people that are big in the startup scene in Nigeria. And I noticed something. Some of them actually worked out. Some of them were actually working for certain startup that are abroad, even though they were in Nigeria. And that was like the first time I heard about remote work and everything. That time it wasn't, to be honest, that time it was just few people that were doing it, just selected few. So, and like I said, I was following them, and I noticed something that they were good at what they do. They were very, very good, so good that you just couldn't ignore them, right? And they had so much integrity in the sense that they were very, very open. All this information you could deduce it from the kind of thing they tweet, right? So I just say, okay, I'm going to try to make myself as good as they were, right?
Nice.
And that was when so from that time, I just started applying for remote jobs. Just started applying. Like, I just felt like I'm in Kaduna, I'm in Nigeria, right? But if people were in Lagos could do it, I could do it.
But just a quick one. Can you like recall how many jobs you applied for before you landed your first remote job?
I can give you a random number, right?
Okay.
But I can't really give you an approximate number. Sorry, I can't give you a specific number, bro. I applied for close to 100 jobs, and I kept getting unfortunately. Sorry, good luck. I kept getting rejected.
Wow.
Some of them I will go through the interview process, like close to the end of getting that offer letter. They will tell me, "Oh, we've gotten somebody that is
a better fit."
Better fit. They won't tell you you are trash, you are crap. They will tell you there's somebody that is closest to what we are looking for.
Wow. So guys, like getting a remote job is not easy. Like
it's not.
You may see guys working remotely, they may look appealing, but they've gone through a lot to get that kind of opportunity. And you can hear it from Victor, and I too had my own share of experience. I applied for more than 100 jobs actually. But one thing I'm curious about is, like, after applying 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, like, what made you think that you would definitely get a remote job?
Okay, like, why didn't I just give up?
Yeah, why didn't you just stop?
I think one of the major reasons for me is those guys that I was following on Twitter.
Yeah.
I just felt if they could do it, I can do it too. Do you get? Like, for me, they were just that glimmer of hope for me. Like, I mean, some of them I know them personally. Not personally. I know them a little bit. Yeah. I used to read their blogs. What they were doing, I could do it. you get? So it never occurred to me that it's because I'm from Nigeria. That's why I wasn't getting accepted.
Okay.
It's either it's just my time, like it's not your time or something, or truly those companies had better fit, maybe better fit in terms of location or something.
Yeah.
You get? So I just didn't give up because I saw other people that were doing it.
So do you have to be well versed to be a good fit to secure a remote job? Like, do you have to know so many programming languages, frameworks, libraries? Like, what makes you think somebody is good enough to even start applying for remote jobs?
There's this thing called like we always feel there's this thing called imposter syndrome, where no matter how good you are, you always feel like you're not good enough.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Sure. And to some extent, I feel like that's healthy for a developer, because that's what pushes you to keep learning, like continuous learning. But I feel like no matter where you are, keep applying, even if it's for internship, just keep applying,
irrespective of how good you are. Yeah. Just
keep applying. One day, like I used to jokingly say to my friend, one day one ticket go enter. You get what I'm saying? Like, just keep applying. Like, you constantly feel like you're not good enough. Like, when I joined the company I'm currently working with, I was working with a very, like, a guy that's way older than me, that has been in this game for a very, very long time. Yeah, he has been in this game for a very, very long time. So his skills is like here, mine is here.
Wow.
And then I was working with an Asian guy, Chinese. I mean, those guys are very, very smart. So I was like feeling like my imposter syndrome was through the roof.
You're just feeling inferior, like,
bro. It wasn't even because I'm in Nigeria. No,
it had nothing to do with that.
No, it was just because the guys were good.
They were super
better
good.
than me. Yeah, better than me, truly. But I used that as an opportunity to learn. Like, I was open to them. The thing you guys hired me to do, I can do it. But there are other things that you guys are doing that I don't know how to do yet, and I want to learn. Like, I was open to them.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? And two of them now, they are not working at the company, and I'm the lead dev in the company.
Wow.
So all the things they were doing when I joined that I couldn't do, I can do it now perfectly.
Wow.
So most companies, they are usually specific about the things they are hiring for. We want someone that can do PHP. This is why we are hiring. We need someone to convert our code base from this to this. They will be specific. Yeah. Right? They won't just say they won't just list a bunch of skills that you need to have. Most of them, the sensible ones, the sensible application that they usually post, They are usually specific about the things they are looking for, so that you will know if I can do this or not.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, from what you just said now, I realize that one has to be humble to go far if you're working remotely, because if you come in and you're feeling like you know a lot and you don't want to learn from people that are above you, you may even end up losing the opportunity that cost you a lot to get. I mean, that's super interesting. But in your own opinion, like, if I've never worked remotely before and I'm just getting ready to, start applying for jobs, in my resume, like my CV and all that, what do you think I should capture in it to make me look like a potential candidate?
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't get my first foreign remote job. Like, that was in the first place I worked at. I was doing so many freelance jobs, some of them that were good and I was proud of. I kept them on my resume. Right? I kept them there. And then there were companies, for example, they were just, I don't want to call them little company, but there were companies I worked for part-time, full-time, but I was very, very proud of what I did there. Very, very interesting thing. For example, a long time ago, we built, I'm sure you're aware of this, we built a plagiarism system. I love that job. I'm so proud. It sucked a lot of my blood, but it taught me so many things. I mean, I worked with very, very smart people, right? So I added that to my portfolio. Wow. And I was pretty detailed about what I did for the company. I was pretty detailed. So all these little things that people you've worked for, just add it to your resume. Like, it's very, very important. Add it to your portfolio. Yeah.
I think from what you just mentioned now, I realized that before you even start looking for remote job opportunities, it's important for you to gather some level of experience, like work for other companies within work on projects, like real projects. In fact, the more you have real projects that are live, deployed, that maybe you've gotten real world experience, I mean, the better for you on your CV. You need to gather those things and it will make you stand out. You understand? I guess that
some of some of those projects, they might be a personal project. They might be a personal project. Sure. For example, I used to have a gospel music sharing website, churchboys.com. Right? I think my hands became strong working on that project. So every time they ask me in an interview, tell me one project you worked on that you're proud of, I included that. Because it's true, I actually worked on that, and I actually worked on that project, and I had almost everything I know up to that point was because I was working on that project. So I can tell them comfortably, this is what I did. I did the front end, I did the back end, I was one doing the DevOps, I was one doing the marketing. Like, I told them everything. You get? It was a personal project, it wasn't a client project. But
so that means if you are not even opportune to work for a business, maybe any company, you could just start a side project, and it will just serve as an experience for you in your portfolio. So I think it's very, very important that even if you are not opportune to work for clients, you should start working on a personal project. It will go a long way for you. I mean, that's super interesting. I mean, when I started applying for remote jobs, there was this guy I had a chat with. He works for Microsoft and he's based in the US. And I told him that I'm looking for a job in the US. And he asked me where I was based in. I told him Nigeria, Kaduna. He was like, it's not possible for me to get. I still have the chat. He was like, it's not possible. Like, it's not going to work.
That's not true.
But I realized, like, to be sincere, you were one of the reference I had. I was like, I have a friend based in Kaduna who works for a company in the United States. So how is it like it's not possible for you to work remotely? So what I wanted you to throw more light on is, how do people get to remove that mindset that your location doesn't matter? Like, there are companies that are fully remote. They don't care where you are. They just look for somebody who is good enough and they can just bring you in.
So let me just say something about your friend that works at Microsoft. Most people like to feel like one kind, we're enigma, this kind, we are so smart. That's why it's not true. Like, to be honest, we can see, as long as what most companies are looking for, can this guy do what I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
What I want him to do? Can this guy do it? Is he sincere? And maybe we're going to talk about sincerity later.
Yeah.
Is he sincere? Because if you're working with somebody you've never seen before, you put yourself in the shoe of your employer.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is he sincere? Can I trust him with the credentials of my company? Like, I mean, they can give you their GitHub credentials. Can you trust you with those kind of information? I have access to my company's Stripe account. Wow. Can you trust me that this guy is not going to steal our money one day and just walk away? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they can do that, see, there's no limit to where you can where you can work at.
Wow.
So to answer your question now, I've helped my company interview other people, right?
Wow.
And one thing I noticed about Nigerians, so Africans, because we interview people from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Ghana and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed about people from this part of the world, Africa, is they have inferiority complex.
Wow.
Yes, they do.
They feel like they're not good enough.
Like even the moment you start the interview, just their like the aura, they don't have that confidence. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
So even though they are good, even though they are good, they don't project that on the call, wow. And it's because of the fact that they feel inferior to start with.
Wow. You
get what I'm saying? So for me, honestly, see, bro, I don't believe that there's somewhere I can't work at. Honestly, I don't believe. If I go there and I join them, right, I'll be able to spot people that are better than me. Mm-hmm. Like sincerely, they're actually better than me. No missing words. But I would never feel like
you're not good enough
to work with them. I would never feel like that. And I tell you, give it small time, they'll be able to leave.
You fit in.
I'll fit in, honestly.
So basically, what you are saying is a lot of people from this part of the world don't have confidence.
Like that's just my from my experience at least.
Wow, interesting. I mean, with how vast the tech industry is and new things keep coming up, you work remotely. How do you manage to keep learning new stuffs and at the same time deliver as a remote software developer?
Yeah. Okay, so you see in this tech industry, it's a very, very fast-paced industry. Mm-hmm. It's not an industry where if you get a job 2023, you probably would not need to learn anything else till like maybe when you need a promotion. It doesn't work that way here. You have I'm telling you, if you leave JavaScript, let's use JavaScript. Yeah. If you leave JavaScript for like 6 months, bro, I promise you that if you come back, you have to start learning certain things afresh. Like almost every week, there's a new JavaScript framework coming up that is useful, that can make your life better. And if you don't know, you will suffer. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, if you know this thing I'm saying, you have to keep learning. Like you have to be at the top of your game. If not, you'll be obsolete. Wow. They will hire one young guy that will come and be. You get what I'm saying? I'm telling you, like I see a lot of those kind of people that I know jQuery, I can do magic with jQuery, but nobody uses jQuery anymore. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? I can build crazy things with jQuery, but nobody uses it anymore.
Yeah, it's obsolete.
Everybody's trying to move away from it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, for example, now I'm using Vue. If I notice that Vue, people there's a market for Vue right now, yeah. Mm-hmm. But if I notice people are moving away to something else, I'll move away with that. Move away with that.
So you have to always be on top of your game,
bro. If not, you don't go and leave you. I'm telling you, you just wake up one day and discover that nobody's hiring.
But haven't you experienced a situation where you have a lot on your table, work-wise, and you needed to learn new stuffs? Like, how do you get to balance those stuffs?
So it's easy to. It's actually especially if you have if you work at a company, not freelance. Mm-hmm. You work at it. You have a day job 9 to 5. Yeah. It's very, very easy to just be rusty. Because every day you're writing the same code. Yeah. You are not building new things. You are basically maintaining new you're building upon software. What is there already. So that you're solving a bug or you're building new feature, but it's still the same code base. Yeah. You're not learning new things, right? For in that kind of situation, again, I would tell people learn to have personal project you're working on, right? Have personal project you're working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Like side projects.
Side project you're working on, and I encourage people to do like that.
Wow.
Have personal project you're working on,
Mm-hmm.
and then in those projects, don't use what you're using. Don't use
Something new.
Use something new.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. For example, now there's this. I mean, one of the fastest framework I know is Laravel. They are adding new things every single day. Those guys, I don't know how they work, bro. So they added something called Inertia JS. I read the documentation of Inertia. Sweet stuff. I've never used it. My company doesn't use it. All the clients I work for, they don't use it.
Oh.
And I want to use Inertia. So I just started a new project with Inertia.
A side project
with Inertia. So, and that's how I got to learn Inertia. And it's a very, very awesome thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So,
but what are some of the challenges that you've experienced maybe in the past working remotely? Like, how has it been for you? Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like, man, this is tough?
Yeah.
Like, working remotely?
One of the major challenges I faced so far is at times you work with people that don't trust you. And if you're going to be sincere and be fair to them, I understand why they don't trust you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you are working with somebody that is miles and miles apart from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You've never seen this person apart from on call. You've like, you don't even know. You don't know if he's fronting. You don't know if this guy is just acting. Right? So, somebody don't just trust you. They want to make sure you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've worked with someone before that says we have to be on Skype call, even if we were not talking.
Really?
You have to be on a Skype call.
Like you be live. Like you have to be live.
You have to be live working.
Wow.
Some of them have software that track your work. I hate that software. You get what I'm saying? But it's lack of trust.
Yeah.
So they don't like. There's, for example, I'm more productive from anything from 9 in the morning to like 1, right? If just leave me alone, I will do work for you at that time. I'm more productive around that time.
Yeah.
But if you want to track me, I just won't be productive and creative.
You'll be comfortable.
I won't be comfortable
at all.
Yeah, at all. I won't be. So that's one of the challenge. That's one of the challenges: lack of trust.
Wow.
And then secondly, now this doesn't happen. This has happened to me just once. It's racism.
Wow.
Yeah. Remember, like I don't have this defeatist mindset that it's because I'm a Nigerian. But so if I say someone is racist, the person is actually racist.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember one time.
Yeah, you told me about a company in Netherlands.
Yeah. So let me tell you a story. Right? So around that time we were having this NSAS issue. Yeah. So me and one of my friends that works in we worked at the company. We've all left the company now. But we were working for this guy, right? And we just said he should just give us a day or two. Because the things going on in the country around that time, we just needed to learn our voices and stuff. He just gave us. This guy was like, he thought SARS was a disease or something. you know that disease SARS.
Yeah.
He said, why are we trying to get the government to end the disease? Do you get like? I felt insulted, bro. Like, you really think we're that stupid? You know, like this is the mildest one I can think of. Wow. But the guy was racist, like super racist. And I mean, I actually wrote my resignation letter and just emailed it to the guy.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to leave.
It was that bad.
Yeah, it was that bad. Like he didn't fire me, I had to leave. I'm telling you, like I didn't wait for him to get to that point. For it to get to that point where he would have to fire me. I just
resigned.
Put in my resignation letter and I left him.
Wow, that's really crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, all these challenges are there, like while you are working for companies remotely and all that. But do you think racism is something that is like common across the continents out there?
Honestly, if I'm going to talk about I can only talk about from my experience.
From your experience. Interesting.
I think there's racism there. You get, it's there. We can't lie. It's there, right? But I don't want us to get to the point as Nigerians where we attribute some things to racism when it's not racism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Most Nigerians that I know, right? And I'm saying this thing, I'm not trying to bring down my people. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know very, very awesome devs that have very, very good mindset and attitude to work.
Mhm.
But most Nigerians that I know, honestly, their attitude to work is crap. I
Wow.
wouldn't hire them if I was if I was an employee. Like I wouldn't hire them. Most of them have this mindset of let me use this work as a stepping stone. So if I'm working for Samuela, for example,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly working for Samuela. I'm just using him to mark time until I
Wow.
get a bigger thing. You get what
Wow.
I'm saying?
Wow.
So and we see
They're not
that
giving their best.
they are not giving their best. So one of my friends just moved to Germany,
Mhm.
and he was telling me that some Nigerians they were advising him to do this, and I'm just explaining.
Wow.
And he said, no, he can't do that because that's not the kind of person he is. And I said, Baba, you are correct.
Yeah.
Put your head down and work for these people. You get what I'm saying? And we see it even in non-tech jobs.
Yeah.
Where somebody will be working for First Bank. They've spent enough money to train you. You get.
Exactly.
And then just because you found another company, another bank that's paying you 20K on top what First Bank is paying you, you now
just
leave
quickly
and go. Do you get? And the money they spend to actually train you is something like it's an expense for them.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
I think
So
you're
it's just
basically
terrible.
talking about loyalty.
Yes.
Like a lot of people are not loyal because here at Dixre we had our own share of experience. Like I can't begin to count how many people we've trained, invested a lot of resources, and then all of a sudden they just wake up one day and tell you they want to move on. But the funny part is some of them don't even get to even do better. Some like the ones I've had experience with. I mean, it's crazy. You're
But I want to encourage you. Honestly, don't stop investing in people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't worry, don't stop investing in people. Just keep at it. I'm telling you, like, it might look counterproductive, but just keep investing in them. You get what I'm saying? So many like you said, it's true. Like I don't think there's a company that doesn't have this issue we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing that people, like I said, just put yourself in the shoe of your employer, right? Samila, put yourself in the shoe of your employer. You hire somebody that you've never seen. This guy is miles away from you. The barest minimum they need from you is for you to keep assuring them that we are together. I'm not going anywhere. Calm down, don't worry. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the least.
You
get what I'm saying? That's barest minimum. It's not a big deal. It's something you should do.
Nice.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm currently on leave. I'm currently on leave right now. And they're supposed to deploy something maybe next week that they will be able, the people that are there, they will be able to deploy it. But I think it would be easier if I was there during the deployment.
Wow.
Right? So I told my boss that don't worry, when it's time to deploy, even that money, just text me, I will come back for like 2 days of work.
Interesting.
Like they want to know that this guy has our back.
About them.
I care about them. It's not just your money.
Yeah.
Pay me well, but I care about you too. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to know that I'm actually adding value to these people. You get what I'm saying? And most people don't. Again, I'm not trying to put my people down. Most Nigerians that I've worked with, most Nigerians that I have heard of, they don't have this mindset.
Wow.
Honestly, they don't.
And you see, one interesting thing about working remotely that I've noticed is most of these foreign companies have this flexibility. For example, the company I work for in the US, they allow you to take unlimited vacations, like at any time, as long as a sprint is not active. You give them a week heads up that I'm going to be out for the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks. Nobody will tell you, no, you're not going anywhere. As long as they trust you. You know, so, I mean, although you shouldn't abuse it, that's the whole idea. So, from what you are saying here is that flexibility is there. These people care about you. The least you can do is to add value to them. And then be a trustworthy person.
Bro, see, I keep telling people these things. If you're working for a company, now I heard this thing, it might sound cheesy or whatever or corny, right? But someone said that if you work more than you are paid, you will eventually be paid more than you are working.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you 100%.
It sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, but it's true. I'm telling you, like if you be obsessed with adding value to these people you are working with. Be obsessed about it. You know what I'm saying? Like there are times when my boss will text me. Now I know my I have one of the best bosses in the world.
Yeah,
to be
me
honest.
too, actually.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very, very cool guy. So if he texts me by 11 p.m. in the night, I'm sure that he just like, I'm sure he struggled to do it. Like it's not something that happens frequently.
Mhm.
However, now let me balance it. If I'm working with someone that just likes encroaching on my, going out of his boundaries and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up respectfully. Though I'm not going to fight with you. I'm just going to tell you, I'm sorry, I don't work on weekends.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I can make. Is there? Can we make compromises? But I don't work on weekend because I have a family.
Yeah.
And I have other things I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the interesting things about working remotely that I think is very, very appealing to people is the pay. If you recall, I think some few years back, before I started working remotely, we met at a hub.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's last year. No,
not
last year.
Yeah, it was
2020.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2020.
Yeah.
One more time flies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So around that time we met at the hub. I didn't even know you were working remotely, and I came to that hub like 2 times, 3 times, and I saw you relaxed with your MacBook. I was like, is this guy even working?
I remember.
And I just met you one day, and I was like, hey, what are you up to? And like, why are you always here? Do you even work here or something? And you were like, no, you work remotely. And I'm like, I don't understand. You work remotely.
You didn't believe me.
Like, especially when you told me the pay, it was unrealistic. I was like, unbelievable, because if you compare it to what a company will pay you here in Nigeria to what a company maybe in the US will pay you, is miles apart.
Yeah.
Miles apart. I mean, what do you think? Do you think this is one of the reasons why everybody wants to work remotely? Like, the pay is crazy.
Well, to be honest, I can only speak for myself. But I can't lie that that's not one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, another reason is remote work gives me the chance to work at my pace. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For example, in the company I work at, my tasks are very, very clear. At the beginning of the sprint, they give me, Victor, at the end of this sprint, you should have done these things.
Yeah.
Now I can take a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and do all of those tasks. For the next 2 weeks, I'm free.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm done with my tasks on that sprint. I'm done. Like, I'll just be chilling. You get what I'm saying? However, you can't do that in a physical company.
Exactly.
You probably won't be able to do that in a physical company.
It's not even possible.
So again, even though I have an office outside of my house, but it's not far from my house, so that commute time is non-existent. Basically non-existent.
So basically, the pay and the flexibility.
Yes.
Yeah, because for me, when you talked about flexibility, most of these companies work in sprints. I mean, I would like you to throw a little light, because some of our viewers may not know what a sprint is. And then how most of these foreign companies work. Because I could recall when I started working remotely, one of the things I realized was we'll be doing daily stand-ups. That's giving reports every day. At first, I was kind of scared. I was like, I've never been in a situation where I'm working and I have to give feedback every day. Yeah. But over time, I got so comfortable with it that it wasn't a big deal. How do you think those approach to working remotely is far from most of the approaches we have in this part of the world? Do you think it makes a developer more productive, even though you have some kind of free time when you're done with your tasks in a sprint? Like, can you just tell me how do their pattern of working, like foreign companies, compare with ours, and which would you prefer, like, anytime?
Of course, I prefer. So I wouldn't call it their approach. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because in Nigeria there are people that do it in Nigeria. It's called agile, right? So I prefer agile I prefer that kind of work to the traditional way of working. I think it makes people it helps people to be productive, right? And then, like I said, in my company we have our sprint is usually 2 weeks. Yeah. So if we start Monday, it's 2 weeks from that Monday. That's when we will start another sprint. Mm-hmm. So it helps me to work at my own pace. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I can actually just, like I said, I can do everything in 3 days, and then the other 11 days I'm just free doing something else.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? Like nobody's on my breathing down my behind me, and just you have to finish this thing. You get what I'm saying? So, and then the daily meetings. Again, like I said, if I would like our listeners to learn to put themselves in the shoe of their employers, right? If you are working for somebody, wouldn't you want the person? If someone was working for you, wouldn't you want the person to be giving you daily updates? I would want that. About their progress, I would want that, right? And then once in a while, it's okay for you to say, I overestimated this task. I thought I would finish it today, but from the look of things, I'll finish it in 2 days' time. It's okay. Do you get?
Yeah.
Again, they trust you. So if they trust you, it's easy for. Do you get? It's easy for you to. And trust is something that is not something that is automatically given to you. Something that you build over time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I prefer this mode of working than the traditional way of working, because I think what I've been looking for is that kind of working is easy to track.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to track. It's easy for your tasks to be tracked.
Yeah, the progress you're making.
So if there's a weak link in your team, it's easy to spot the person. You get what I'm saying? And we've had that thing in my company so many times. There's a particular task that was supposed to be released in a month. Bro, up from December last year up till now, it hasn't been released. Wow. I think they fired the guy last month or 2 months ago. Wow. Because it was obvious. Everybody was giving updates. Every time you are giving the same update. Like, do you get? Like, it's obvious if you are like, if there's a dead weight in your team, it's obvious to spot the person out.
Wow.
But you see, for example, just imagine a civil, a government job. Like, if somebody is not working, you won't know.
Exactly.
Because you're not giving daily updates.
Exactly. Yeah. So, what advice will you give to someone out there who is looking for a remote job? Someone who has never worked for a company remotely in the past. Like, what advice will you give?
Okay, I think we kind of hinted that, in our conversation earlier. But number one, build your portfolio. So all of those jobs you're working, those local jobs you're working, by local I mean in this country, or in your country, wherever you are, that you think they are not important. Any of those jobs you feel like they're interesting, where that actually pushed you to the limit of learning new things. I think you should add that to your portfolio. Yeah. And then your personal jobs, the personal your side projects. Add all those things to your portfolio, right? Nice. And then if you're applying for jobs, be confident.
Nice.
Like, I feel like confidence is something you can actually see. You can smell. You can sense. If you're talking to someone and the person is not confident, you can smell it. Oh. So find a way to exude confidence whenever you're in a meeting. They're not going to kill you. The highest thing is no.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know you don't get used to rejection. That's not something you never get used to. But just be confident. The worst case scenario is just you being rejected. They are not going to beat you. So be confident.
Yeah. And I think you also have to know the right platforms to apply for these jobs.
Right, yeah.
Where are some of those platforms? Which platforms would you recommend, like, for someone to start from, like, to start applying for those jobs and all that?
Okay, so it depends on what. It depends. So the generic one is LinkedIn. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated. Yeah. Like, updated. Like, to the very last full stop. Updated. Keep it updated. And then, for me, now this is just a personal preference. I don't like applying for jobs on generic websites. If I want to apply for a view job, I will go for a website where they only post view jobs. In fact, there's a website called viewjob.com. And then if I'm looking for Laravel jobs, I go to where they only post Laravel jobs. There's a platform called larajobs.com. Yeah. I go to those places. If I'm sure there are those kind of platforms for other languages and frameworks as well. So the reason why I like doing that is because I'm sure that the job I'm applying for is for a skill set that I have and I'm confident about. Yeah. if you wake me up by 3 a.m. to write view code, I will write it with one hand. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's no, what can you give? Which kind of work are you going to give me a view that I can't
you
do?
cannot do.
So if I know that if I'm applying for this job,
So
it's my bread and butter.
the more specific your skill set, the more platforms you should look for that are specific to those skill sets.
Yeah.
It gives you a better chance of getting a job in the area that you are good at.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. To wrap up our podcast for today, like where will our listeners find you online?
Okay, so my website is victorovin.com. That's VEE victorovin.com. That's VEEKTHOVEN. Victorovin.com, and then my Twitter is, in fact, anywhere on the internet you're looking for, just search for Victorovin, you will see me. So twitter.com/Victorovin, facebook.com/Victorovin, victorovin.com, like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll drop the link to his social profiles and his personal website. If you want to look for Victor, you want to chat with him, you always find him. He's a very nice guy. He's always open to helping people. And it's nice having a chat with you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
for having me.
us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And that concludes another episode of the Dixre podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. See you on the next episode.